welcome to the She Leads Local podcast. My name is Brittany Bishop. I'm your host, and I'm super excited to be here and to be starting this podcast for our local community. We're going to have on a lot of guests for each episode, and they're going to be all women-owned businesses. And we are just going to help kind of share stories from each person, how they started their business, more about themselves, their background, struggles. Some will be mothers, so we'll share a little bit about motherhood and balancing everything. So today I have my best friend, Kaitlyn Butler, here, and we are going to talk a little bit about me to start. And she's going to help by asking me some questions about me and my business to give you a little background.
Yes.
Welcome, Kate.
Thank you for having me, Bestie Britt. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very proud of you for starting this.
Thank you.
And highlighting the women in our community.
Yes.
It's awesome. So we will get started. Sorry, I had it pulled up. And now
it's hard to see.
Well, to start it all off, would you mind sharing why do you want to start this podcast?
Yes. So I love just talking to other female business owners and supporting local and building community. So I felt like why not share that and have everybody, listen and hear more about other businesses around and just kind of, promote each other.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And your background's not in photography. So will you share a little bit more about how you got started?
Yes. So very different. I have a master's degree in accounting. And so when I moved here, that's what I started in. I tried a few different accounting jobs and it just, I quickly learned it wasn't for me. And that was kind of a little bit of an identity crisis just as a little 23-year-old because I had spent, my whole life working up to that. At that point, I was always, good at math. I liked math and I would just liked school. And so I wanted to do whatever I thought was the best type of like business type of job. And I got in there and it was really hard and I didn't like it. And not only the subject, but just the type of job and career that it was, which I don't know how you're supposed to really know that when you're just, you know, picking a major, right?
Mhm.
So that's tough. But I got in there and I learned a lot about myself and that, up until that point and even further after that, I really thought that I was an introvert and
Mhm.
turns out I'm not.
Not
So
at all.
it was confusing to me because I thought that's what I was. Everybody had told me that the quizzes you take told me that. Um but I don't know, I'm not. So I need to be around people. I like being around people and I don't know. I should have thought about that when I was even in college when I would be studying. I would study in the library, not even like necessarily with someone, but there were other people around me,
Mhm.
all, doing it together. Like I wanted to be with
It was
people.
community.
Yes, community. And in my accounting jobs, I was in a little cubicle by myself
Mm.
and may or may not have a window and had fluorescent lighting. And some jobs I left in the dark and got home in the dark, and I just got really depressed. So, long story short, I made a bold decision to completely leave that career and start over, which I only could have done with my husband's support. And I remember it was the end of the year. So then, January came and I'm like, what? Who am I? What am I supposed to do now? I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew it had to be very different than what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I was looking at all kinds of careers. And yes, I have a master's degree, but I wasn't qualified to do certain other jobs because I didn't have background schooling experience in other fields. So
Yeah.
that was kind of hard to take in.
Mhm.
um, like I'm not qualified for much else. But slowly I got a few just random part-time jobs. I think I had 3 part-time jobs at the time while I was figuring it out. And I got a camera. I got it actually as a gift from my mother-in-law, from like Costco on Black Friday. And just kind of started playing around with it on my lunch breaks. Um and realized, I've always loved taking pictures, and maybe I should try this. Maybe I should try to make this into something. So I did.
Incredible. I love that. That story is so incredible. And it's so funny that you bring up that you thought you were an introvert because that is absolutely what everybody perceived. But I do want to kind of dig deeper into that. And can we talk a little bit about more about perceptions and things that people might perceive about you? But kind of peel the curtain back a little bit and give us a deeper look into um, what's the truth.
The truth. Yes. So, I think the people who really know me, they would not call me an introvert at all. Um, they would call me very social and which I've kind of let myself grow into that. I think, in my 20s, I just didn't really know who I was, like who does, right?
Yeah.
But I think I finally just, after turning 30 and stuff, you kind of get to like, okay, like settling into who you really are and not caring so much what other people think, and just, I don't know, and a lot of other experiences, and then having kids, who they are not introverts, and so they kind of, my girls were like, yeah, no, we're getting out of this house, and I realized that I liked that too, and I do really like, being in community with people. Community is one of the most important things to me. That's a big reason why we're here for this podcast. And just, yeah, I think I'm not a loud person, but that doesn't mean that I'm an introvert. It just means, like, where do you get your energy from? And I get my energy after being around people. And with photography, like, I come home energized after spending time with new people. And if I go to an event at night, I'll come home and I'll be hard to go to sleep. So, yeah.
I love this for you. Living in your truth.
My truth.
If somebody only knew your success story, what part would they be missing?
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably don't know my background in accounting and that whole chapter of my life. So I think, I don't know, they missed out on the hard parts, and just me not knowing who I was and being so um really depressed. And I probably was shrinking into acting more like introverted at that point.
Mhm.
Um so yeah, kind of missed that whole section that, I don't miss it, but um even starting photography, there's a lot that comes into starting a business, and it takes a while to get going and everything. And yeah, I've been lucky to photograph a lot of families here, a lot of people here, but it wasn't always the case. I didn't always, you know, I wasn't always well known in the community. It takes time to build. So
Totally. And what does life look like now? What season of life would you say you're in?
very much motherhood, mother of littles. That, it's a big part of my life. I have a 6 and a 2-year old, but I think, the little one, she's 2 now. I feel like I'm just at the time where I can start kind of adding things back into my life. I kind of just now have like a little bit more capacity for everything, and for me to not forget about me and myself. This year especially, I've been just really trying to prioritize myself more outside
Hmm.
of being a mom. Um, but yeah, being a business owner and working from home, working from all different places, it's fun and it's challenging. My toddler, recently, she took my wireless computer mouse and threw it in the bathtub when it was full of water. So that kind of paints a picture of what it's like working from home with littles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can imagine there's a lot of scheduling and different elements to that, which leads me to my next question. What do you think women need to stop apologizing for?
A lot of things, but I think just, apologizing for not doing whatever it is, not getting to XYZ, not doing all the things, not doing this, not having a clean house all the time. Like men would never apologize for that. So sometimes when I deal with guilt and mom guilt, I try to think like, is this something that a man or a dad feels guilty about? And it's almost always the answer is no. Um, because a lot of it is just kind of made up in our heads. But we women do so much and we cannot do it all.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think we just need to do our best and not apologize for not getting to some little thing that you didn't get to that day.
Totally agree. Um, what's the craziest story you have from your business?
So, I used to do wedding photography. I don't do it anymore. Right now I'm doing families, newborns, and then branding and headshots for women in business. But for many years I did do wedding photography. And there were a lot of stories that come from weddings, but one that stood out in my mind still. I can't believe this happened. We were at the wedding at the reception and they were cutting the cake and the bride and groom were fighting like at the cake cutting in front of everybody and I'm trying to take like cute photos of them, cutting the cake all happy and like feeding the piece to each other and they're like visibly arguing and then one just like walked off. I was like,
Match made in hell.
yeah, they're not together anymore. But um I did not that was a first. I had never it didn't happen after that either. So that was pretty wild. Weddings are if you're a wedding vendor, um you see the best and you see the worst of people and
Mhm.
it can be a very wild day.
Well, speaking of the best, what's something that you think you do really well in your business that you could share with other female business owners?
So I would say I think just not doing it by myself and, being in community, collaborating with others at their businesses, and just getting out there in real life because I think, with technology, it's easy to just stay home and just post on your phone and try to run your business just through social media. But I really don't think I could have built my business without in-person connections, relationships, and referrals. Like
Mhm.
there's only so much that the internet can do to get you business if you're not, you know, like putting yourself out there and building actual relationships with people. And I think it's a win-win for everybody. And it's just better that way in life in general. So I think we just need to not forget to still make sure you're getting yourself in a room with people at least once a quarter or something.
Absolutely. And you talk a lot about community. What's your favorite thing about Ocala?
Well, that's one of them. I like the size of Ocala, how it's small, but it's growing so much. I moved here about 13 years ago now, which is crazy to say. And it was completely different. It was much smaller. And it's grown so much, but it's still not a huge city. And so I like the size. It has like the little small town feel still,
Mhm.
but it's big enough. I think there's so much to do here. Every weekend, there's a lot of things, and I have to pick which one. I can't do it all. So it has plenty, especially for young families like myself. Um, But yeah, I think it's also close enough to go to, a bigger city for the day, which we do a lot. We love day trips and stuff. And
Mhm.
we're Disney people. So love living 90 minutes from Magic Kingdom. But yeah.
Yeah. What else do you want to share?
Um, let's see. Let's see what else I had on my notes.
You made it through your list.
I think I think the question that I want to ask my guests that I'll ask myself too is that, what does like a typical day look like for you as a business owner of XYZ type of business? So I'm a photographer and people probably just think that I just go and do the photo shoot and like that's it. But that's such a small part of the job. I think with most jobs, you don't see most of the work. It's hidden.
Mhm.
And so every day looks different, which I love. And that was the complete opposite of accounting. Every day was the same, and I
Mhm.
could not. So I don't know I may not know what I'm doing all tomorrow, and I like that. It keeps life interesting, and I have to be creative. And just I do a lot of different things, but like today I was responding to emails and trying to schedule somebody this morning while I was having my hair done, and then I'm having this podcast, and then right after this I am going to photograph a branding shoot. And then oh yeah, earlier this morning at like 7 a.m. I was editing, forgot that. um and then I'm mom too, so
Mhm.
and then I might be editing at midnight. I don't know. So every day is different, and I really love that.
It's
So,
amazing.
yeah, well, thank you for coming on here and helping me kind of share more about myself and my business and this new podcast and what we're trying to do here. So, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you. Bye.